budget 2022 and providing his insights on how it could have been more holistic and easier for the common man. Joining me is Rahman Khan, a veteran politician, former Union Minister of Minority Affairs, and ex-deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha. Let's hear what he has to say on it. Thank you so much for doing this with us, sir. As you know, the announcement of the budget 2022 and 2023 has just happened today morning. And first off, I'd like to ask you, what are your thoughts on it? And what do you think the future of digital India looks like?
The budget presented by our Finance Minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, people expected it will be a very people-oriented budget. There will be several schemes for the common man. And particularly after the pandemic, there is people have lost employment.
Right.
They are suffering. There is health scheme. There are a lot of sufferings which is going on from last 2 years. Last year budget was also a budget which is not very people oriented, but this time, because of the recovery which we have seen in the economy, it was expected that there will be so many programs for a common man, poor people.
Right.
But we don't see anything of such announcement in the present budget. It is, to me, it is more or less a status quo budget. There is nothing which we can debate on some of the various things, except the new introduction of the new system of digital currency. That is one thing which is debated. They are going to introduce the digital currency. Mm-hmm. The fiscal deficit has not been brought down, but it is maintained, because last year and before last year there was some reasoning for maintaining the fiscal deficit, because there was a considerable drop in the revenue. But this time, because after the recovery also, the fiscal deficit of 6.4% has been maintained of the GDP. It will be a huge gap between the receipts and the payment, and the payment is plugged to expenditure is almost 39.54 lakh crores, or almost 40 lakh crores, whereas the revenue expected is 22.84 lakh crores.
Right.
So almost there will be a 17 to 18 lakh crores is the almost deficit between the expenditure and the revenue. And this will have to be covered by the fiscal deficit. And what will happen then? The debt will increase, the interest payment will be more, and most of the amount will go in servicing the debt. Mm-hmm. This is not a good sign. Of course, the increase in expenditure was essential, was expected, even because this one of the suggestions which were coming from various quarters is to increase the governmental expenditure. Now, whether the governmental expenditure, no doubt, has increased as expected to about 39.4 lakh crores. But whether the government, looking into the past, will be able to raise this much of resources to spend. If you don't spend that much, though your fiscal deficit may go down, but economy will not recover, because there will be no money in the hands of the people. So this is a very controversy which has not been explained properly by the finance minister in her budget speech. Then some of there is no absolutely any schemes for a common man. For example, we expected health insurance and employment generation program, and then there will be a increase in pensions for the poor, so that the more money should be there in the hands of the poor. Now, what is government is trying to do is invest in capital industry, but to recover for a poor man, the investment in capital industry is not going to help him in getting more money in his hands. So that there is no such programs in the budget at all. Common man is absolutely there is nothing for a common man to be rejoiced with the budget. Then
So I
there is
think the latest, yeah, also mentioning, a lot of reviews have come out that this budget has been very holistic because it's included most of the sectors in it. But as you rightly mentioned, it's more of a status quo and more on the privilege side. Like take for example the battery swapping that
no.
has been.
This is this is a traditional budget. I should say it is a traditional budget, and there is not much of which is they are trying to say that they are going to spend about 19,500 crores for the solar power energy and
Right.
private forestry. That's all something which is usual. This is all because these are all these schemes which they have to take it up, invest, but it is not going to help this one unless you see what is the common man needs. He needs more money in his hands to this thing, and he needs the employment. No, as far as the employment generation is concerned, when lakhs and lakhs of people have lost their employment during the pandemic, and there is no much. The finance minister has not stated anything in particular. They are trying to raise the green bonds. Again, they are going to raise loans. Debt is increasing, and that is a burden on the economy and burden on the government. So there's not much resources. The revenue generated, though they say economy has recovered, the revenue generated is not to the extent the economy has recovered. And of course,
The
this
common man.
digital currency is a controversy.
Hmm.
First, government tried to ban the cryptocurrency, and when the court said that no, you cannot ban the cryptocurrency, then the Reserve Bank also said we cannot thing. Now the government has come up almost, they have conceded that the future is digital currency. They are what you call cryptocurrency or digital currency, almost are same. So now they are not only introducing digital currency, but they are also taxing the income from the cryptocurrency or digital currency, whatever you call. So this is what the government has almost reversed their opinion for on this digital currency. And then they also talked about we are going to have world class universities in a gifted cities. These are all a long term assurances when it is going to be completed. Though whatever they say, for example, digital currency, nobody knows what type of digital currency we are going to have it. Still, there is no a correct picture of how this digital currency work. So they have announced. So it will take, though they say 2023, 22, 23, it will be done. It will, because they still only they have given the concept, but how it is going to work, details are not available. And then there is they are uh, introducing some blocks, digital blocks or something, or more or less. I don't find anything which is worth because budget is for a common man, and social security schemes have not been introduced. No new social security schemes have been introduced. We
Right.
expected during to recover from the pandemic, there will be a lot of social security schemes will be introduced, like increasing in the pension, and then new health insurance. And because people, the future is the people are still not sure that pandemic, how the pandemics will be fought, how what are the problems they are going to face. Uh, new variants are coming up every day. On that, there is not much discussion on that. Budget
So,
has not.
as you mentioned, the financial and the economic thing for the common man to help out with it, the budget also includes of the mental health scheme, which they have spoken about, right? Which is IIT Bangalore providing its tech and NIMHANS being the main part of it. So, during the pandemic, I think the idea that the social stigma that mental health came with, it has reduced because everyone understood that it needs to be inclusive and this needs to be spoken about. So do you think this could be one positive aspect into the budget that
No,
we will speak about it
it,
more?
it is a routine, this thing, because our health infrastructure, which we have created in NIMANS and other institutions, are already doing it. There is not, because everything depends upon the allocation you have made for that purpose. Because budget is one thing which you resource, you raise the resources and spend the resources. And whatever other things are there, it is all already that research and everything is going on. What is expected that there will be something special to fight the pandemic. Of course, there is we have successfully implemented the vaccination program. The government should be appreciated for the successful implementation of the vaccination. This thing, we are one of the those few countries where vaccination has succeeded. We have covered a large size of population. That is goes to the credit of the government and been finding the but recovery, the people who have suffered during the pandemic, it is not those who have got in COVID-19, who have suffered as a disease, but much more sufferings have taken place. There is nothing incentive for people who have lost their jobs, lost their business, lost their industry. There should have been something backing. So some announcement has been made that are going to give some help for rising the for industry, for loan in the form of loans and all that. But they
Right.
need subsidy, not a loan on that thing, because again they will have to repay the loans and all that. Something should have come up in that. And the employment guarantee scheme is also, the allocation for employment guarantee scheme is also not increased substantially, because
Right.
this Narega and all that, there is no substantial in rise in those programs which will reach to the common man.
So, in the education sector, they have mentioned about one class, one TV channel, which will be increased from 12 to 200 TV channels, which provides supplementary education in regional languages from classes 1 to 12. So, we all know that in the last 2 years, the idea of education has become more digitalized with students studying virtually. Right. So, what is your take on how a digital university will be developed in India and the access reaching more to the tier three places with a
You
lot
see,
of languages coming in.
the pandemic has helped. It is not much to be said about the government, but the pandemic has helped in the education sector, because we are forced to go online education.
Correct.
And then virtual mode has almost, it is without, there was no other alternative other than the virtual mode, so people have adopted to it. Now virtual, that is digital education has become a common this thing. And we are already there. IGNU is there, national open schools are there. They're all education institutions working through digital mode. And now more and more universities education will become virtual. And it is natural development. You see, in a digital world, these are all natural development, which whether the
Right.
government needs an assistance, they will have to. Now one thing they announce is they are going to launch 5G. From last 2 years they are saying going to launch 5G, but I don't know whether it will see the light of the day on 2020, in 2023. They are that is also one of the announcement they have made, that 5G will be introduced, actions will be done. And if it comes, it is good for our future virtual education and this regional education. How far it is going to help? Is it there? There is a controversial. Suppose they are going to introduce primary and middle school regional language. It is again a controversial subject, but anyhow, that is there is a matter of details.
Right. So also they mentioned that the announcement of e-passports rolling out in the year 2022 and 2023 will happen with travel curbs happening over the last 2 years. It becomes easy for overseas travel. So do you think, I'd like to wrap this up by saying that the future of India has become more digitalized. So what's your take on it? Do you think this is the way that we're going to see
Uh,
the
uh,
country
uh,
going ahead?
of course, India is a leader in digital, say this system, and we are world leaders in digital this thing. And of course, future is digital. There is you, whether you like it or not, you have to accept it, and you have to go digitally only, because people are accustomed to it. Because again, I would say that because of the pandemic, there was no alternative. So e-commerce, a few years back, it was people were not even imagine how e-commerce work. But now everyday life, even in villages and illiterate persons also going through the e-commerce. So there
Correct.
is this is the people is adaptability has created this one. That is how digital work. It is the government, of course, will have to invest a lot, but in addition to that, adaptability is also a technology the people have adopted, and that is why it will be a success.
Correct. So I think to sum it up, as you rightly mentioned, the budget could have been a lot more inclusive for the common man so that it would help a normal person more. And digitalization is the future ahead for the country. So to wrap it up, any last thoughts, sir? Any other way that you think that it could have been improved?
No, that is what I'm saying. Because the see budget. See, we are a developing nation, and the common man interest is very important. Agriculture sector is very important, and then social sector is very important, because this is the 3 4 areas which was should have been given much more thought over to boost the economy, and to put, because ultimately all economists say they put more money in the hands of the people.
Right.
That is how you can rise the consumerism, and then productivity will rise and all that. Now, if you invest more on capital, heavy capital investment, that the results you will not get immediately. No doubt, it is capital investment is necessary, but you will not get result properly. Both are necessary. I don't say that the capital investment is not necessary, but at the same time, there should be first there should be more expenditure in the with the people, which will increase the money in the hands of the people for more expenditure. Instead, the government is spending, the people money should be with the people to more expenditure.
Right. So thank you so much, sir. I think overall we've covered most of the sectors that we could speak about, and also what could have been added on to the budget. So thank you for giving us your time and sharing such insightful details on it.
Thank you, Simran.